So welcome to Meet the Experts. This is probably one of the most exciting ones for me to do. I am Cassandra Hesseltine, the Film Commissioner for Humboldt-Del counties, and I would like you to please introduce yourself and what you do in the industry.
Okay. I am Nairobys Apolito, and I am a production secretary for the show Snowfall Season 4, pre-pandemic.
Awesome. And why this one is so exciting for me is because I actually know you and know you well. I know some of the other people that we've been interviewing, but you were actually an intern in our office back in the day when you went to Humboldt State University here in Humboldt County, which is really exciting. So you're a HSU grad. You graduated in film, correct?
Yes.
In 2017. And tell us about, being a grad at HSU and working in film. You also were a co-director of the festival.
Yeah, so I originally went to HSU for forensic science, and then
That's different.
Yeah, I took an elective for the Humboldt International Film Festival because I was like, oh, you can watch movies and rate them. That's awesome. I'm just gonna do that. And you came to speak in one of the classes, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I actually been wanting to move over to film, and I was really interested because you said that you were super open to people asking you questions, and you worked in the film industry and stuff. And I was like, let me go and talk to her and just try to get as many answers as I can. So I emailed you and called you, and I was like, hey, is there any way I can volunteer so I can learn? And then I switched my major, and I first became a volunteer, and then I started interning with you, and then you started giving me projects, and from there I was taking the film classes and decided that I wanted to apply to be a co-director for the 50th International Film Festival. So I was like, cool.
And there's some cool history about that film festival at Humboldt State because it's the
longest student-run international film festival in the entire world.
Yes.
It's pretty
amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. So yeah, you did the 50th year anniversary, which was pretty fun for you to be able to do. And yeah, so while you interned in our office, you were able to be hired on, I believe, at least three pretty big projects. Right?
Yeah. You actually opened the doors for me. The first film that I worked on was an indie called Woodshock, and I started off as an office PA, and it was
that starred Kirsten Dunst and now has recently come out on Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's on Netflix now. It's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I first started as an office PA. It's great because I got more hands-on experience. That was my first time ever seeing how everything was working, especially behind the scenes. And it was a lot of high pressure and fast paced.
What does an office PA do? So I'm assuming, I know, but for our general audience, can you explain what an office PA does? You're obviously in the office.
Yeah, so we're in the office, we're making calls, we're making runs, so whatever the directors, producers, production supervisors need, then we go make calls, check where the equipment or just random things, if they want tablecloths for the table reads, then we go check out Target, we just have to research, go get the stuff and set it up, and we also have to pick up lunch, get the groceries, do all the paperwork, printing the scripts, the schedules, making sure that everything is stocked up and set up for everyone else so they can just grab and go. And, so it's just a lot of organization and making sure that everything's where it needs to be.
And that's during actual filming as well. So an office PA typically, unless they're sent to set, their main job is in the office versus going to the set daily.
Oh, and then also making runs to and from the production office. So for example, if we need the producers or higher ups to sign like contracts and checks and stuff. We have to like deliver them, wait for them to sign them, bring it back to accounting, and just so everything can keep going because
yeah, someone has to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a
So
lot
then,
around.
yeah, and then I believe you had one day off and then immediately started a second movie.
Yes.
Swiss Army Man with Danny Radcliffe and Paul Dano, which is also on Netflix.
And that one, it was a set PA. So most of it was locking down the area where they were shooting, helping out with the equipment. It was it was a small crew. So I was able to get in close proximity with like the department heads and help them out. So I was able to jump around from department to department, which is rare because you have to be in the union to do that. But yeah, it was great experience to see like the art department working with the camera department. It was just like everyone was so tight knit because it was a small like second unit crew.
Right. It was very small. It was about 30, I believe. They didn't bring the entire first unit, even though it had the main actors. Usually your first unit, has your main actor. Second unit usually doesn't, but they called it a second unit, but it wasn't your traditional second unit, but it was definitely a skeletal crew that came up. And so what's the difference? So we now know what you do in an office. What does a set PA do for those who are unaware of what that role usually is?
Well, it's mostly locking down the area, So, for example, when we were shooting on the beach at Humboldt, we were just trying to keep the area clear from where, the pedestrians were walking and from where they were shooting the actual scene, and just trying to trying to steer like the traffic clear, just making sure that all the equipment was where it was supposed to be, everything was acceptable, and just like helping with like running back and forth between the base and the set, just in case they needed anything, and also like helping out with lunches. There was like a secluded area, especially when we were in the redwoods. So that was kind of what we usually do, especially, well, it depends, because if you're a set PA but you're working closely with the AD department, then
right.
You may be escorting like team one to set, or vice versa,
And that's the main actors. Team one would be our main actors.
Yeah.
So then you were able to do a third movie, which I think is really what was also very helpful. Not only having a pretty stellar resume as you were leaving our county once you graduated, the degree, the co-directing of a film festival, interning in our office, but then you also had these other two movies. But this third movie also kind of was the tipping point, because I believe it was what connected you to the next job you got in LA. But tell us about your third movie that you had here before you left us.
Well, those 3 projects that I did, I was still in college. I was still in school.
Right.
So I think that gave me more of I guess a head start, especially with looking for jobs out here, because I already knew people.
Right.
So that project was Wrinkle in Time, and that was shot also in Humboldt County, but part of it. And I was working in the office as well. And for that particular job, I was just delivering the dailies back and forth from Humboldt to San Fran and back.
So explain to our audience what dailies are.
It's just the footage that you shoot that day, and then just the footage that you shoot that day, and the producers and directors, they review it, and they decide what they want to like add to the final cut. So that was my job. I was.
Was that scary, knowing that you had the movie in your hands?
It was so scary.
But you didn't want to like get in a car accident or get robbed.
Like, I was driving the safest I've ever driven in my entire life.
And so for people who might be watching this around the world, Humboldt to San Francisco, right, was your delivery?
Yeah.
So that's a 5 to 6 hour drive.
Yeah, so I was driving 12 hours a day, but it was me and another office PA. We would take turns because we would have to do it every single day. So she would do it like Monday, and I would do it Tuesday, and just vice versa. And then when she was doing that when she was on the run, I would be doing like picking up the lunches, setting up the paperwork, just doing, just like making sure the sides were correct, which is super important that the sides are correct.
And sides are, what are sides?
Sides are just like pages from the script that, like scenes from the script that they choose that they're going to film the next day. And whatever they're not going to film that day is like crossed off so that the actors know what they're actually going to focus on.
So they're usually smaller than your regular script size.
There are smaller ones, and then there are bigger ones. Those are usually for like the ADs and stuff. But the smaller ones are really important. But yeah, it's just like, it's crucial that you have the correct sides, because it's one of my mistakes as a rookie when I printed out the wrong sides, and we had to rush, and everything was just so hectic. It was,
oh man,
just make sure, like one of the biggest things one of the biggest tips I would give you is triple check your work. Just triple check it. It's better to take a little bit longer to do it than to rush and then have to, like get all frazzled up because you did it wrong, and then like 10 of the people have to help you.
Right. Yeah. A Disney movie doesn't want to wait on a production, assistant who works in the office because they got the sides wrong. Yeah. That would be brutal. So again, you were able to, I think, accomplish some amazing things here, by, like you said, you worked on all three of those movies well before you even graduated. And you were co-director of a film festival, and you interned in our office, which, a lot of times we asked our interns to do office work for us, whatever we needed when we were working on productions. But then also sometimes we had projects where we would do movies in the park, and we would show a movie in the park and have a popcorn machine and do the whole thing. And I know you helped with that as well. So you were very busy and very active in getting into the industry. And you kind of already answered one of our questions, which is, how did you get there? And it's, I for some reason I didn't recall that you went there for forensic science. That's just so awesome, and ended up in film. That's amazing. But tell us a little bit more about, how did you make the choice, like, to switch over? I mean, first you were taking a class just so you could, grade movies, and now all of a sudden you're in LA and in a production office right now. So how did you make that choice to move into film?
I realized I loved watching like crime investigation shows, and I was like, oh my god, I want to like be able to like figure out who done it, right? But then I realized after watching those shows, I was like, I actually want to see how they make this. So I just like started watching like a bunch of behind the scenes like videos on YouTube, and I was like, this looks like fun, because it's so many different departments, so many different like careers all bunched up into one like place, and everyone's trying to work together to like complete this project. And I was like, I want to like work with different creative people, because it was just insane to me, like this like whole collective. So I was just like, you know what, I want to learn more on how to do it rather than like actually cut people up. That was kind of scary. It got a little nerve-wracking when I took a couple more courses, and I was like, this is not for me.
I want to make the TV show about it. I don't want to be the one that actual dissects about. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So that kind of also explains what you love about your job and what you've gone into. You started to kind of touch on it a little bit, and I think, could you expand on what does someone need to know about who wants to pursue a path, like for you, you've done office PA, you've done, set PA. We'll talk about your actual present stuff that you're also doing pretty soon here, or you're doing in LA. But what does someone need to know to pursue a path in production, like you've been doing? What training, aptitude, behavior do they need to have?
Well, I would say that you have to be really organized, really detail oriented, you have to be able to multitask, and also just like work at a quick pace, because everything is just like like sometimes we're just like, you know, hanging out and doing our paperwork, and then other times it's just like everyone go 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 go. You have to be prepared for anything to go wrong, you know. So yeah, I would just say like detail oriented, and make sure that if you are unsure, ask questions, because it's best to ask the questions and know how to do it rather than be like, yeah, I understand, and then you're just going to do it wrong, and they're going to be like, I thought you knew. You
Yeah.
know, so it just like it looks bad on you, like on yourself. So yeah, I would, my main thing, organization, detail, like, you know, that's the main thing. But yeah, I have jumped from, I've done art department, I've done set, I've done accounting, and it's just like, just make sure like you know what you want to do. It's okay to like go to different departments and figure it out. But once you do, there are different routes that I can take to become a UPM or a producer. I can go through the office, I can go through set, through the AD department, or I can go through the accounting department. Those are three of the different ways that I can do it. I've stuck to the production route because I found a couple of great people that are willing to mentor me, you know, and it's all about the connections that you make with people. So I mean, that's how I was able to get my first jobs, because of you. So yeah, just like use the resources you have around you. Like I reached out to you because I was like, oh, she's the liaison between, you know, the film people and the community. So I was like, let's go. So yeah, just like go for it, because a lot of my classmates, they still haven't found jobs in the film industry, and they didn't take the time to, like, when they were in school, they didn't take the time to like go outside the box and be like, okay, I'm gonna try doing this internship or volunteer, you know, because it doesn't necessarily have to be an internship. Just like get your foot in the door for people,
right?
You know,
Because we do offer it. We do go, you know, often, almost every year we would go and be invited to talk, and it'd be a whole classroom of 30, 60 kids. And often, you know, I'll get one or two, or maybe one will reach out and then realize they don't have time for it. But it is amazing who does take us up on it. And usually it's people like you who have initiative, who do think outside of the box, and then who also work really hard for us. And you were also always willing to learn and listen, you know, and be part of our little team in our office. And we really always appreciated that, which is why, you know, it ended up that you were able to, you know, go be selected on these movies that were here in town, because, you know, you were one of those team players that was, you know, definitely stuck out, I think, you know, amongst the college students that were interested, you know. So, and we loved having you in the office. So when you got to LA and you had all that experience and you had done all these things that were, like you said, a little bit different than what some of the other students that you worked with, you were able to pick up a project right away. And what project was that?
Yeah. So I was graduating. I was stressed out because I was like, what am I going to do? And then I remembered that the production coordinator for Wrinkle in Time told me to reach out once I graduated. And so I did. And she was like, when can you be here? And I was like, tomorrow. So I packed up all of my things and I drove the next day. And she hired me to be an office PA for Westworld season 2. And ever since then, I've been working. So I was like, thank you.
That is utterly amazing. So then you worked on Westworld, and I believe there's a couple other shows that you've worked on.
Yeah. So I worked on Westworld season 2. I worked on Snowfall season 2, season 3, and season 4, and The Rookie season 1, and Dead to Me season 2. But
yeah.
I also,
and those are all big shows.
Yeah. It's all about like I know you meet a lot of people, and the connections that you build, they're like, oh, it's like word of mouth. So you just like, they're like, oh, I need this person, send me your resume, kind of thing. So it's just like, it's hard to find a job like through the internet, You know what I mean? Like applying.
Right.
It's all word of mouth. Like I've emailed all of my resumes to like one of my coworkers, like acquaintances, you know what I mean? Or like one of my friends.
Right.
And it's just like, that's how I start getting the work.
So that old saying of it's who you know is really important, but you have to have been a really hard worker for someone to refer you or suggest you onto another show, because in this industry we don't just suggest somebody who's gonna then go in the office and eat cookies all day long, like you said.
Like you have to you have to give it your best effort. People are gonna know if you're like, oh, it's all good, I'm not here to work, I'm just here to be here.
Right. You won't get referred again.
No, you won't get referred again, and then you're going to be struggling to find jobs. It's all about the relationships that you build within like the project that you're working on.
And genuine ones, genuine, real hard working relationships. Yeah.
End up being your friends, and you don't want to like make your friends look bad.
Right.
They're referring you to a job, because
right.
I learned the hard way. It was not pretty.
So this is an epic fail for you, was that you referred someone.
I referred someone and it didn't go well. So just just be careful who you refer, because it's gonna look bad on you.
It reflects on you.
Yeah, it reflects on you, and it just makes you not want to refer anyone again.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that definitely is hard.
People come up, like I want to help people come up, but it's just like, it's difficult.
Right.
When things like that happen. So, yeah.
What are you on right now? What is the current show out of those ones that you're actually on?
Snowfall season 4.
Oh, that's right. You said that pre-pandemic. Yes. Yeah. So you're in the production office right now?
Yes.
That's amazing. So what's an epic story so far of, you told us kind of the different types of things that you do, when you've been on set or you're in a production office, but what's maybe a save the day type story? You just told us a fail where you unfortunately recommended somebody that didn't work out, but what's like something that you can remember one of your days of why it's so exciting to do what you do?
One of the days I was just, making copies of the script to pass out, like one of the new edits. And one of the ADs called on the left. They're like, "Oh, we need a PA over here ASAP." And then they sent me over to set, and I was like, "Okay, well, what's going on? What do you guys need?" They're like, "We need you to play dead." I was like, "What?" And it was for one of the shots in Westworld. I'm like a dead body. But it was really fun because I was like, oh, I'm taking a cold break, and it looks like I can like close my eyes and rest. But yeah, they were like, oh yeah, we just needed an extra body, so that we can like just like walk through the scene. And I was like, great, I'm in it. And that was pretty cool. They also gave me a costume to wear, and I was like, I'm glad that I was playing dead, because I have no acting skills. Another cool thing that happened, I was, what are you doing? Oh my God, I just had a brain fart. So,
that happens. Well, there's so much, right? So much to think about that our brains for a second just